Let's look at the components that you'll need to put DCC on your layout. I have two command stations with me that I'm going to talk about. Let's look at the entry-level system first. The entry-level system contains both a command station and a throttle in one box. If you remember the transformers you used to use before you went into DCC, that's equivalent to what this is here. It has a throttle that allows you to run your trains, adjust trains, change direction. It has a command station that acts as the brains of the system. What it does is to receive information from the throttle and send out commands to the decoders in the locomotive to actually run the trains. Entry-level systems tend to be a bit basic. This particular one puts out a maximum of about 10.5 volts. It has 2.5 amps of power going to the track. It does not have internal routes, and it will only control about 10 locomotives. That means that if you are in a larger layout where you may have 15, 20, or more locomotives, this system is not for you. You need a more advanced system. The system on my right is a more advanced command station. It has more features than the basic station. For instance, it will allow you to operate up to 120 locomotives. It produces more power. It can provide up to 8 amps of power to the track if you choose a command station with that capability. It has internal routes. That allows you to set up an internal route, for instance, to operate a yard where you can push one button and all of the switches will line up for a particular yard track. It also allows you to choose the voltage that's going to your track. For instance, this particular command station allows you to choose N-scale voltage, which is about 11 volts going to the track, HO scale voltage, which is about 13 to 14 volts going to the track, or G-scale voltage, which puts 16 to 18 volts on the track. It's a little more complicated, a little more expensive, but if you have a larger layout, or if you're running larger scales like O-scale or G-scale, you really need to consider using or purchasing a more advanced system. The next component we're going to look at are throttles. There are three basic types of throttles. The first throttle is a basic tethered throttle. You have a large knob to make the train go faster or slower. You have a direction switch to switch directions on the throttle. It plugs into the command station or a receptacle on the fascia itself, and this is really your most basic throttle. All manufacturers produce a basic throttle. The next throttle is a little more complicated. This has more features. It allows you to control more functions, and this particular throttle has infrared capability. It can be connected to the layout either through a tether, or if you have an infrared receiver connected to your system, this can operate trains by infrared or wireless. This particular throttle also has a few more functions, bells and whistles, than the basic throttle. It's a little bit more expensive, but a little bit better throttle in my opinion. The final type of throttle we're going to look at is a radio throttle. A radio throttle gives you true walk-around wireless operations. With a radio throttle, I can stand anywhere in the train room. I don't have to be plugged in. I can run trains, I can throw switches, I can activate sounds, and I actually can turn the system power on and off. And one final point, remember that your throttles generally have to be made by the same manufacturer that makes your command station. You cannot normally use one manufacturer's throttle with another manufacturer's command station.